Hey guys, this is RL. That's going to be the tutorial for the new additions that I've added to the daily game software. First thing, I'll get to this first. Okay, when you load your game now, used to you just scroll down to the game that you wanted to load. I'm just going to go down here to Missouri, and then you hit enter. Now you have to press this little load button here, and then it'll load your game. Now, I noticed that some states don't have both pick 3 and pick 4. When you receive this, it'll come with, Missouri loaded. But if you're in a state where they don't have pick 3 or pick 4, then open up the program before you load your state, and then select a game that you do have. Like if you've got a P3 evening game, set the Missouri pick 3 to the pick 3 evening, and then load your state the way that I just showed you. That way, sometimes when it loads, if it tries to load a game that doesn't exist, or there's no numbers in the game file, then it might create an error. I need to fix that, but that's just something I didn't get to. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and load my pick 4 evening just for the instructions here. Now, what you may notice that I've changed a few of these buttons around right here. The steps button now is located over here under the info. You've got your position 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I've tried to make it where it saves your set and then or your settings, so you can come back in. But you do have to press on each button to see what your last settings were. And you can also save these, and now it shows you down here that it put that set in. So if you do several configurations of the steps, you can save each one at a time. Now also you can print out the like 45 games history for the step values, which a lot of times I print that out because I just really enjoy doing stuff on paper more than looking at a computer screen. And the SC chart is also printed from inside the steps. This is becoming my number one analysis tool, and I just use the steps to kind of tweak these settings. But anyhow, you can print out the steps, the SC chart. You can save your set that you generate here, and then of course the exit button. Now, I used to have like a report button up here where it would generate a list. I've cut the list down to just so that it shows the pairs, and you can see these are box pairs, so like 14 could be 41. The digits are just in numerical order here, but it covers any of those 2 digits. And you can see here like 14 is hit 111 times, or 1 in 4. And if you come down here to 14, you'll see that it's 2 games out. That's pretty much all that little chart there is. I added an erase button here so that you can erase the sets, any sets that you've drawn. And then on the check option, I've added the ability to see all the number of hits and pairs and stuff. Plus it breaks it down by positional hits and then box hits. And then I believe the clear and the reset and all this other stuff is the same. You can look at the digits by position, how many times they hit, their games out and stuff. Or you can right click on here and you can see the number of times that a digit has hit in the last 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and 180 games. Now, red indicates that the number is above its average, green means that it's on its average, and then the light blue means that it's below its average. And if you see a block like right here, you can see that 0 hasn't shown in the last 30 games, so it's way below. But anyway, that's the same as it was before, and all this stuff over here, nothing there has changed. Now, down here on the border buttons, you'll see that they're all the same except for where I believe the steps used to be here. I've added a D-trip filter, and what this does is removes all triples and quads. It does both. This one here just removes doubles. This is your removes any single lines, yada yada yada. You can still analyze that data. Over here we've got your singles, your doubles, your triples, and your quads. If you want to, or you can use the bias search down here. But anyway, that's still there. I actually had two buttons that doesn't give you the same exact data. It was just inverted one from the other. Okay, but now I'm going to get into the SC tools. Okay, what I did was I built a few tools here, and they're all with, in this same little window. But one thing I want to mention first is, although there's several options here, you've got to exit out of all these before control is turned back over to the main program. But anyway, the SC tools button here opens this up. Now the first one is basically a bias search. If you look at the very top up here, you can see the digits that showed in the last game. Here we have a 311, which equals 7. That was our first value. A 212 equals 5, and so on and so forth. Now I've set these are set so you can set them wild, excuse me, change, or same. And then on the first digits for each position, you have the option of setting the actual, the step value. Because if you change it, if you set it on change, it can still be, two different values. Where with the second, third step, they're always, if it's a 1 and it's the same, then it'll be a 1, and if you change it, it'll be a 2, and that's, they're each 50-50. So there's no reason to put an actual value in there. You just select same or change. Now what I'm going to do here, just for the this little illustration, is I'm just going to set the first values here all to wild, and you can left or right click to increase or decrease these, and then I'm going to leave the rest of them all set to same, because what I'm doing is I'm just giving it the ability to choose the first step in each one, and then it has to use, the same values that it used for this, or that hit for this draw in the second, third positions. Now, you won't get the same amount of numbers. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to wheel those. I wanted to illustrate the wheel. And it takes just a little bit to run, and you can see there that it says that we have it generated 24 sets. You might get 24, might get 36. It changes based on what the numbers were for the last game. Now I'm going to go ahead and exit this, and then I'll hit the check button. And so you can see now exactly, how your digits fell and everything. And we had a straight hit and a box hit in these 24 lines. Now, it's not quite that easy to do, but I'm just doing this just for the illustration purposes. Now normally what you would do is this little black bar underneath the digit, just click that and it'll highlight green, like a little light came on. And then what you can do when you first do this or highlight it, you can see all the same change patterns that are possible, and then you can see the games out for each one. Now, this, I don't know that this is going to help too much. It might be something you could come back to, or maybe just study it. But I do my analysis vertically in the, I'm going to exit out of here real quick. Go back to the steps, and I'm going to open up the same change, just so I can have it here for reference, and then I'll go back to the tool and re-highlight this. But anyway, when you first open it up, it'll show you, the graph here for the, same or change. And with position 1, remember, if you change it, you've still got two choices. Like if it was a 3 in this last game, and say I set this to change, then I've either got to set this value to 1 or 2. It's not, with these over here, if it's the same, you leave it the same. If it's a 1 and you hit change, then you set it to 2. If it's a 2 and you hit change, then it's got to be a 1. So anyway, I think everybody understands that. But anyhow, you can see the total times that it changed versus the total times that it stayed the same. Now, what this is actually counting here is it's like for the let's take like the change values. You know, it went from, I'm going to go backwards here, but from a change to a same, then a same to a change, and then a change to a same, and it just alternates back and forth, you know, in between these. Anytime you see a change value, where a same value is when a digit hits after itself. Now, as soon as you start the bias search, you can just click on anywhere on this line, and it'll highlight, you know, that many, you know, number of values. And then a second little graphic illustration to open here, and you can actually see the order at which they were drawn, or you can look at a color graph, you know, that is exactly the same as what this date is here. You'll also notice over here to the side it says a prediction, you know, and I would ignore this. This hasn't been finished, and you know, it does hit quite a bit, but it's not. It doesn't hit enough. I don't think that a person should trust it. But anyhow, you just, you know, you use your same change chart, and what I do is I go down through and I analyze these vertically. And what I'm looking for is a break point where where I think it will change from a same, go from an S to an S, or S to a C, or C to an S. And so far I've been doing really great with this. I'm getting on average 2 positional digits, you know, every time I play. You know, with the exception a couple of times, but I've gotten up to 3. And even in my 3 ones, I just missed one of the 12 steps, and the last one that I missed was the very last one on the page. And if I would have just changed, you know, I was same, and if I would have put change, I would have hit. But anyway, that's I'm going to stick with the same change data, the way I analyze it and stuff. It's not very complicated. But anyway, once you get all these set, you know, like I said, then you can, I'll set this here to 3, and then I'll just run the wheel again. And I forgot to erase them, so it's going to add to what I had there. But each little value that you can set, you know, exact, really makes a difference. You can see here that when I had this set wild, it generated 24 lines, and with this set to 3, it dropped it down to 12. Depending on what your budget is, it might be a good idea, because, you know, these first ones, the step ones in each position, are hardest to hit, where you know, there's been a lot of games where I've hit every one of the you know, step 2 and 3 in each of the positions. It's either the first one that gets me most of the time. But anyway, I think you kind of understand that if you've used any of my programs. If not, maybe you can look at the TLEX post, and it's covered quite a bit in there. It's basically the same thing, just a little different format. Now, I do have a search option here, and you can see you've got the option for a box search or straight. And let's, I really don't use this, but the wife wanted it, so she's pretty good at picking digits, so I didn't really argue with her. Now, I put in the first 2 digits from this last game here. Now, I'm going to say that it has to match 2, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this, and it's going to do a search, and it's going to look for 7 and 5. And it's going to look straight, so, you know, they've got to be in that particular order, or in these 2 positions. Now, the first line of information, these are the digits that hit in the next game after a 7-5 was drawn. The C line, that's the current line. That's the digits. If you add up all the other 2 digits that hit with the 7-5, you can see what they are. And this is the plus line data and plus 2 line data. So the plus line is the draw right before it, and then the plus 2 is the line below that. So actually, you're able to look at 3 draws and then, you know, guesstimate possibly what could be in the 4th one. Now, if you notice here, there's a step up and step down, and what you can do when you step down, what it does is it goes to the next place where it hit a 7-5 in the first two positions, and then it shows you what digits hit in the next draw, and then the digits that led up to that. Now the wife, she likes this, but if you notice here, okay, we had a 7-5 and then a couple of 9s, but look at in the next draw after a 7-5, it was a double 7. We go down again here, we see a 7-5 and a 5 hit in the next draw. Go down another one, or 7-5, and we see another 7-5. So sevens tend, to hit after. Here we didn't have one. But here is 7 and a 7 and a 5 and a 5. So, if you see a 5-5 or a 7-5, you might want to play 7 or 5 in your next game. But she does a lot more analysis in this area. There's another 7 that hit after when it was a 7-5. There's another one. There's another one. So anyway, you can scroll through this till you come to the end of the file, and maybe that'll help you come to some conclusion what to play. When you get to the bottom of the file here, it'll tell you in the file. You can clear that, just clears the window, or reset it, and it'll erase the digits that you have up here. But it's basically just a little search tool that she wanted. And you can set the numbers in any positions and search them. If you put straight, it'll search for them in those exact positions. If it's a box, it'll search for them anywhere. But anyway, that's pretty much all that is. Now, I've also included this is a little cover program, and this I'm using trying to come up with a betting strategy, because in around 77% to 80% of the games that I've played so far, I've been able to manage two digits in the correct position. So here was my idea. Let's say I'm just going to use these numbers here. Let's say that I came up with the set for the next game, a 7, 2, 3, and 6. Okay. Now let's just set. Now you see here I missed the 2 center digits, a 2 and 3, but I would have hit the 2 outside ones. Okay, again, let's say that I was fairly sure on position 7, so I can lock 7 in the second thing here. You can either lock or run them wild, but I'm gonna lock digit 7 into a position and let the rest run wild. Now, because most of my games I hit 2 positional digits, this is just how I'm going through how I play using an after the fact kind of situation. And then I could set, I could say, well, I think at least 2 of these will hit, but maybe 3. So I could set this to 2, 3, or I might leave it set 0, 4. And then if there's any digits that I thought that I wanted to block, like I'll just put in a 4 here. And then what this will do when I run this will cover every set automatically for me. What I need to do is, let me exit this, erase those, go back into this. I don't remember what I had here. I think it was a 7, 2, 3, 6. And then I had the 7 block wild. I had 2 positional matches, and then I thought at least 2 or 3 of these, will hit it. And what I always do is I always can add this line that I first generated to my list. But what I'm doing here, and then I think I blocked digit 4. I'm going to run this real quick, and you can see here that I got 192 lines. Now, that's really not too bad. When you consider in Missouri we're playing for a 50-cent bet pays $3,000, and of course a dollar bet pays $6,000. So it's a pretty good gamble if you're consistent in your hitting one pair, or maybe a triple or something like that. But anyway, that option's there. Figure that these 192 lines, I could cover those in $95, $96 making 50-cent bets. But I'm still not to that level, what I'm thinking that, I'm going to stick with picking 3 or 4 lines, just, but with my same change data here, and, just going with that, and then, till I can, kind of work out the probabilities, how many lines I think I should have to play. My average on the same change is probably somewhere between 9 and 10, which means I usually hit 9 to 10 out of these 12 just about 100% of the time. I've only gotten 1 or 2 8s out of the thing, but like I said, most of them's 9 or 10, and then I've had a few 11 out of 12. So that's just one value off from a from a win, and like I say, I play anywhere from like 2-3 lines is normal. Sometimes I go up to 4, some I go to 5. But anyhow, I think I've covered every one of these. You can open up and view the view file from inside the same change tool here. You can erase the sets that you just draw. Now, and I set this so that it doesn't erase them each time, so you can add to your existing sets. I'll go ahead and wheel these again. All the filters here, they work, just like they would. This here's a single, so I could easily, if I was planning on a single, I could hit the, D-trip and quad them, D-drag them. And you can see I'm down to 12 lines, and I can check those again, and I've still got a straight in a box and 12 lines. I could hit the nuke filter, which would probably just reduce me down to a box hit. It reduced down to 6 lines. Let me check that and see what it is. No, actually it kept the straight and lost the box, so there's a $3 play. And like I said, that's running the first digits wild, which are kind of my downfall. But with this tool here, I believe, I have a real high chance of hitting all the second and third choices in each of the steps using the same change chart. I print this out, and I got a little clipboard I attach it to, and then I just start. If it's a change value to begin with, then I just go through and circle all the groups of changes, and then I kind of analyze how many times it hit 2, 3, 4, 1, how many single games there was, etc. And I just do that straight across, all the way across the board. And over here to the side, you can see that the last draw, there were 10 values that changed, and only 2 stayed the same. And if you look at this data, it's kind of got there's actually some good, I don't know, you just have to look at it. You see a lot of, like a 7 to a 7, an 8 to an 8, a 6 to a 6. So, but the wife likes that. I normally just stick to my vertical analysis and my pencil and up and down. But anyhow, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully I've given you enough stuff here that anybody who's already used it should know how to take advantage of these new tools. And anyway, I hope you win big. Talk to y'all later.